My name is Thomas Purcell, and I am a retired educator from Davis County Public Schools. I retired as principal of Apollo High School in 2010. Prior to obtaining the principalship at Apollo, I worked at Owensboro High School for 19 years in the central office for another 2 years. One day they came to me and asked me if I was interested in being an administrator. We had a African-American assistant principal, Mr. Waylon Coleman, who had retired, and asked me if I was interested. Of course I was, even though I had gone back to school and gotten a master's in counseling. So I had to go back and get an additional 30 hours to get my administrative certification. The principalship at Owensboro High School came open. I didn't get it. Such is life. Moved on, and the principalship from Apollo High School came open. I interviewed with the site-based council. One evening after my interview, Superintendent Stu Silberman at the time called me and offered me the position. I gladly accepted, and what people didn't realize that once Tom Purcell came to Davis County Public Schools, so did Gloria Purcell. My wife was a coach and PE teacher in the city system. She moved. My two children also moved. Both grew up going to Tamarack Elementary, Burns Middle School. My son played sports, went to college, and played 4 years of baseball at Austin Peay University. My daughter went to Asbury University, played volleyball 2 years, transferred to the University of Kentucky, and is currently, I'm proud to say, in her final semester of law school in Dayton, University of Dayton. People always ask me or wonder, what was it like being a black principal at Apollo High School? To me, it wasn't about color. It was about being right and wrong, and making sure that you make the best decision for the students. I truly believed in being accessible 24 hours a day. I had a mentor, the late Gigi Talbot, always told me to make sure I had my credentials. Doesn't do any good to be upset if you don't get a job if you don't have those credentials. You have to have those credentials. You have to be ready. I got used to going to conferences, being maybe one of two minorities in the conference. It didn't bother me. I always would make a point to some people that, and just in every day, when we're talking, put yourself in the reverse. You're the white guy, or you're the Asian or whatever, and you are the minority. How does it feel? It didn't feel any different for me because I was so used to it. I purposely looked to hire minority candidates if they had their credentials. There are other things that they had to have. Lucky enough that we had a band director. He is now at Paducah. We've had an English teacher. He is now back home at Muhlenberg County. When I was principal, our head custodian was my cousin. So it's nice that we have minorities, but the issue to me is if I can sit here and say, we had this person, we had that person, that means we don't have enough. If I could do anything over again, I probably wouldn't, because I think I did the best I could do. Our students, our teachers, our support staff, our classified staff, they knew Tom Purcell as Tom Purcell. I came in and I told them, what you see is what you get. It wasn't uncommon for you to come into the cafeteria early in the morning during breakfast, and I may be at the cashiers letting one of the ladies go back and do something, or right after lunch, be outside helping clean up the cafeteria. I believed in being accessible. If you're going to be accessible when that phone rings and that parent needs you, that kid needs you, it was not uncommon to get a knock on the door. You do what you need to do to solve the situation. And actually, my first 2 years, my son was in school with me, and he would know when dad is really ticked off. They would ask him, "Was your dad ticked off?" And he would tell him yes. And it's real simple. I used to tell him, "I'm not a mean man, but I mean what I say." You have to be stern with the kids, but you know, they need to know that my students knew that they could walk in and talk to me. I once had 50, 60 students walk out of class down to the auditorium and wanted to see Mr. Purcell. No big deal. I went down, and it was a situation that we dealt with, but it was about 65 or 70 of them. The young man, I can distinctly remember the young man knocking on my door, and I went to my door, and of course they were all lined up. And I told him to meet me in the auditorium. But incidentally, that young man is now in the service. And each time he comes home, he knows that Tom Purcell's working at the golf course. He comes out and talks to me. It's you listen. I know that you care. You can't teach them until they know that you care.